This video right here is an idiot's guide to why Black Lives Matter. Now first up, I don't consider myself woke. In fact, when I hear words like positionality and intersectionality, my brain positively literally goes into the fetal position. But you know what? It's in those moments where I pull myself towards myself and try and learn the lesson. And perhaps the most important lesson right now is to those who don't know and don't know that they don't know.
When somebody tells me that they don't see race, I say, I mean, that's fine. You know, you can choose not to see the sky, but it exists.
And then there are those who know that they don't know. Those people simply need a teacher.
Like, well, all lives matter. Really? Semantics? That would be like if your wife came up to you and was like, do you love me? And you were like, baby, I love everybody. What are you talking about?
Extending on the theme that all lives matter. Yeah, sure, one person, one vote may have peeled away a layer or two of racism in countries where democracy exists. But what we don't have is a world in which all votes matter equally.
If you lived in a country where the color of your skin got you killed for driving, jogging, sleeping, yelling, parking, babysitting, sitting in a van, selling CDs, selling cigarettes, opening the door, walking at night, wearing a hoodie at night, holding a toy gun, lying on the ground, being homeless, being in a dark stairwell, holding a cell phone, having a broken taillight, exercising horses, having a bottle of pills, shopping at Walmart, holding a BB gun at Walmart, holding a phone in your own backyard, eating ice cream in your own house, in shopping, you would say that is a lawless country. Who the is running the show?
And this brings us on to the antithesis of the ally to the Black Lives Matter movement. It's what the woke, I suppose, will call victim-itemization. And what do I mean by that? These are the people who feel that the playing field has been leveled, so surely you must understand and see my hurt, because I am under threat.
So this video is going to focus on the double standards of racism once again. I'm actually so hurtful of talking about it.
Now, this response was evoked by a woman who had a Musa argument with the neighbors for being outside during lockdown.
We are already chasing you out! You are being deported! You are already getting out! Get the fuck out of Africa, you invader! Get the fuck out! Get Corona and die!
Now, I don't know the context, but judging from the way that this video has been treated by this YouTuber, I don't think he knows either. We are not told why and how things escalated to a verbal explosion. And in addition to what I have seen, what I also would like to see is how was this woman approached? What was the tone of the approach? And also, Enklik, what is he or she saying, or they saying, silently in the background? Because that matters if we are going to tell the full story.
Actually, if you must know, the World Health Organization, I can walk wherever I want to fucking walk.
And then there is the conclusion drawn.
Yeah, so without question, racist, right? I mean, we don't even have to dispute whether or not what she said was racist.
Now, the woman in this video clearly displays some serious prejudice against white people. None of what she says, though, is a build on the notion or predicated in the notion that black people are biologically superior to white people. That would be racist. So what we are dealing with is prejudice expressed against a particular race, and that is wrong. The outcome is a crude, expletive-laden shout-out against white people and white control.
Your time is up! Your time is up! Your time is up!
What it is not, though, is telling white people to be silent because black people are superior to white people. There's nuance in that, which I'm sure you won't understand or don't want to understand. But you know what?
No, you can choose not to see the sky, but it exists.
Now, a further claim is made in this video which I think deserves closer attention.
I think I speak on behalf of quite a number of people.
Yeah, which ones and where?
Would you like me to provide you with a list of them?
That would be great,
what are you asking?
All we are asking for is for fair journalism when it comes to reporting on people doing dumb shit in this country.
Now come on, guy, you're claiming double standards because the media didn't put the view of this one woman on their front pages for calling for the deportation of white people. Why not lay a charge of criminal injuria? It's been used before and it is your right. And you know what? Maybe then it will be elevated into the headlines. And while we're at it, can we deal with white people in South Africa feeling that the night of the long knives is looming? Let me ask you this. Did it happen a day after this?
Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, do hereby swear to be faithful to the Republic of South Africa.
No. And even in the era of yours boogeyman, it still hasn't happened.
White people know there will never be civil war in South Africa. White people know we will never kill them. They are only scared of the word equality.
So what do you need to do then?
Let us share this land. Let us share the wealth.
But let me be clear. There are ways of doing this, and there are ways of not doing this.
You want to help black people? Hire them. Hire them. If you're in a position to change the color of your staff, you gotta do it. Otherwise, shut the f*** up.
Now, I love me some Neil Brennan, and I'm sure that this clip is not the full extent of how he feels about the matter. But what Brennan advocates is that your white privilege should be used in a constructive way to empower black people. Underpinning that kind of thinking is that the system remain the same. Black people just need to get a bigger piece of the pie dished up by the same people who've always had the spoon in their hand. And if that is the deal, then we need to get out.
Please, sir, I want some more.
And while we're on the topic of sharing, let's get to what I like to refer to as the cake and tea party. Here's one man's suggestion of how we can take talk of reparations into action. The notion that you perhaps pause the flow of intergenerational wealth by levying a tax in instances where said wealth was created directly from the system of racial exploitation and oppression. Here's one man's view against it.
It is one of the biggest reasons why rich countries are rich, because if you have certainty of law, certainty of contract, and private property rights, all those things accumulate into wealth. And if that wealth is passed on, then the descendants of those people will obviously be richer. And I am in favor of descendants being richer than their ancestors.
All I can say is,
And which South Africans are you speaking for?
because in a country where 1% of the population owns 2/3 of the wealth, the following scenario is about as likely for black people in this country as NDZ becoming the person who rolls the Zor.
If your grandfather makes a bit of money, and your father makes a bit of money, and you make some money, and it accumulates over time and across generations, your descendants become wealthier than you.
Waiting on the world to change. I think John Mayer said it best in this rebuttal. Now don't get me wrong, I am as concerned as many other South Africans are about this government raiding public and private pensions to get our economy out of the mess that it is in. I am also worried about the following.
Alright, so the money will go to the state, and the state is currently under the ANC, and the ANC are very prudent, fiscally conservative, and benevolent with taxpayers' money. Oh wait, no they're not.
But I do wonder, if the ANC were this frugal, fiscally conservative entity with your taxpayers' rands, would you then be open to some form of reparation? My gut feeling says it's probably a no, which to me is a classic case of having your cake, eating it, leaving crumbs to feed the poor, and inviting nobody else to the tea party. And another thing, it's funny that somebody who would probably advocate that the poor simply pull themselves up by their bootstraps would be pro a system that rewards for not doing a single stitch of work. And while an intergenerational wealth tax would probably be scuppered at the constitutional doors of our private property rights, At which point do you say to yourself, you know what, I don't like that idea, but let's try this idea, because ultimately reparation is essential. So please know this. Having conversations without actual action is convenient, but it's also sham solidarity. And if that is the way you want to move forward, I'm afraid #time is up. So just as a start, what can you do? It's funny, but if you type the words white allyism into your browser and go to the very first search item that comes up, it's all right there. A simple how-to guide right under our noses. Thank you, Paul Kibble. It's not that complicated. In front of you is a whole range of things you can do to actively show you understand where the world has come to and how you can be a part of changing it for the good. And honestly, most of what is required is fairly simple, but it starts with empathy and understanding and an acknowledgement that your life will be touched. And remember, the world is not the way it is because of natural laws. It is that way by design. The design needs changing. And as a parting shot, it is okay if your voice is no longer the loudest in the room, in the country, or for that matter, the world.
And they are lucky that what black people are looking for is equality and not revenge.